Hello there, you beautiful soul, and welcome back to another Culture Talk segment with Rebecca Munoz, your host and founder of Cultured Society. I am so grateful and so honored to have another special guest, and this one is actually in the future today. He is located in Petaling Jaya, Malaysia. And so I'm so excited because, man, this world just keeps getting smaller because social media has the ability to connect you with amazing souls throughout this planet. And it's just great because when you use it as a powerful tool, you have the ability to really connect with anybody at any distance, any type of country that they're living in. I mean, the opportunities are limitless. So I am so grateful to introduce Edric Wong today. And Edric is a third generation of Chinese descent, currently living in Petaling Jaya, Malaysia. He is currently a student of life in the daily pursuit of becoming a positive contributor to society, a kinder and more spiritual soul. His 3 decades of long work experience include working with many people from diverse cultures and nationalities spanning 3 continents. His involvement in various industries such as international real estate, stockbroking, healthcare, luxury yacht sales, logistics, etc., has provided him the experience to be the grounded and humble former professional he is today. These days, he is happy to connect with any like minded souls around the world to learn from one another and also provide positive support for one another. His simple way of living today includes learning every day, being in the present, generously giving, and extending kindness and love to everyone. And with this, I introduce the wonderful Edric Wong. Thank you so much, Edric, for joining me today on this.
Yeah,
On
thank
this
you so much, and greetings to you, Rebecca. I mean, it's such an honor, and I'm grateful to be here,
Thank you
being
so
part
much.
of your culture society. Yeah.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for accepting my invitation. You actually did mention that this is your first time contributing to something like this. So it definitely is an honor for you, for me, also for you to be here. And so I want to talk a little bit about how Edric and I came into contact with each other. So like I mentioned earlier, social media can be used as a very powerful tool. And oftentimes people think that it's all negativity and that that's all you see, especially in this day and age that we're living in. However, we have control over what we see. And I've taken the time to just really filter out all of the negativity on my social media feeds. And I've opened up my platforms to be public. And so I have had the honor and opportunity to connect with people from all over the world. And so, with the open mind that I have been able to achieve, right, with throughout the years of travel and moving around, it's given me the ability to really connect with people on an authentic level, even if I've never met them in person. And it's so relevant in this society today that we have the openness, right, to be able to connect with people because you know what? There are so many amazing and positive people that you can align with throughout the world that will inspire you and motivate you to just be a better human being all around. And so when Edric and I connected, I had the opportunity to kind of skim and not just skim, but like throughout the days where I would see him post so many positive just memes and just content where you can it was obvious that he was really working on his personal growth and that's been a part of his life for so many years. And it is important to connect with people like that because with all the negativity that's going on, it's really important for us to keep our mind positive. It's important to keep our mind clean and pure. And it's a daily choice. And so, yes, over the last couple of weeks, we have connected through FaceTime. And it's been really just awesome to get to know more about Idrik. And I believe that he has a lot of value to add to our community and to our world with all the work that he's doing. So, again, it's an honor to have you. And I do want to ask you though, because I know that a lot of our audience or the audience of Culture Society, especially here in the United States, that hasn't had the opportunity to travel internationally, would like to know where Malaysia is located.
Right, but before that, I'll like to congratulate you, Rebecca, for pronou- pron- pronouncing the city's name correct, which is Petaling Jaya. I mean, it's a good. I mean, I'm impressed, right? Yeah. So Malaysia is actually situated between Thailand and Singapore, and we are slightly below China and Hong Kong. I'm sure you've been to Hong Kong, right? I've seen your
Yes.
photos. So that's exactly where we are, and we are on the east of, sorry, the west of Indonesia and Australia. So basically, that's where Malaysia is. It's a very small country of about 30 million people. It's about 10%, less than 10% of the American population. So yeah, small country. There are three main races. There's the Malays, the Chinese, and of course the Indians and other races as well. Yeah.
That's so cool. You know, you're not the first person that I've had the opportunity to connect with from Malaysia. And I know that Mind Valley is located in Kuala Lumpur. So if you are also on a personal development journey, that's definitely a company that you want to get connected with is Mind Valley because there's so many valuable nuggets that this company offers, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I used to work in the same building as Mind Valley as well in Kuala Lumpur. Yeah, so you're absolutely right,
Yes,
Rebecca.
yes,
Yeah,
it's so
that's a
great.
good yeah.
So if you have been following this culture talks, or if you are brand new to these conversations, I have brought together a panel of guests from all walks of life, so many different life philosophies, experiences, belief systems. I mean, you name it. There's a variety of people here that are here to have this collective conversation. And the questions that I have come up with are all the same. However, every single conversation has been so unique and so relevant and fun to tune into because although we are, I like to say that we are part of one body, we are designed in a very similar manner, meaning we all come through a birth canal. We all have a mind, we all have eyes, we all have ears, we all have a mouth to speak, we have a heart. You know, the components are very similar, yet every single person has a specific DNA code and a specific purpose that we are here on earth to fulfill. And it is really important to embrace this concept and to be able to come together and have a collective conversation and just accept people for who they are and where they are. Because when we do that, we learn so much about ourselves, we learn so much about other people, and it's just a really great way to expand your mind and to recognize that we do live in a world that's blended and so beautiful, and that, you know, we can come and still unite together and embrace each other to have these conversations. So, with this, Edric, I want to ask you the very first question that will go into this beautiful conversation that will unfold into something that's going to be so inspirational for others to tune into. So, what is your life's philosophy?
Yes. But before that, I just want to say and what impressed me, during the recent interactions we had is that the feeling of the connection of energies. I can feel your energy, even though you're like 14,000 kilometers away from where I am, right? So I can feel you and all the positive energy. So, and I think we are aligned today. Look, we are both wearing blue, right?
Mhm.
Somehow we so, aligned. So I'm very happy to note that as well. So yeah, my philosophy of life is of oneness, like we are actually all connected in this way, even though we are not physically next to each other. I mean, there's ripple effects. So it's just that this is a concept that people like, I used to not think that, hey, we are all part of one big family, whether we are on this earth or we are part of the universe. Actually, we are all one, right? So this is a concept that I just found out during my search of, what's the purpose of my life over the last few years. And so, and of course, if you're one, all one, of course we talk about serving instead of just serving others, loving others, forgiving others is not just about ourselves, and to make a positive contribution to the world as much as we can, in small way or big way, to humanity and to the planet. So that's basically my current philosophy now, Rebecca.
Mm, I love that, Idrik. And you're right, because, oftentimes, especially, well, you know what? I don't think that this is just a concept um, that we're living in now. I feel like history always repeats itself, right? And our society can make it seem as though there is a lot of separation and segregation, and that a lot of people don't believe in the concept of unity and oneness. But there are, as I'm having more and more of these conversations, there's so many people coming to this conclusion now, is that really there is zero degrees of separation between us. And when we come up with that concept, or when we come to this conclusion, we do realize that there is more unity than not. And you said that this is a very recent revelation for you. So how has this philosophy evolved through the years?
Yeah, like the last more than 5 decades ago, right? I'm from this culture, like the Chinese kind of culture, where we are very competitive and we are very materialistic, right? We don't look so much into spiritual stuff, and so it's always fighting, and I give you a story, like I think you know about Hong Kong, right? So even Malaysia, we're quite fast. Like McDonald's probably take 5 minutes for the orders to arrive, but in Hong Kong, right? The first time I ordered a McDonald's took me like a minute. I thought, wow, that's these Chinese people in Hong Kong are so aggressive. You know what I mean? So for many decades, I was doing all that, and making money and trying to you know fighting about everything, even in work, trying to be the best. So, and then it reached a stage like 5 years ago, after I'm 50, I was wondering, what's the meaning of life? Is this what I want to do? Suddenly it just occurred to me, maybe it's a midlife crisis, I'm not sure, but suddenly it's like, so I want to find the purpose of my life, right? So it took about 5 years. So I went into a lot of personal development, even seminars, like what we see on the internet, right? Books, I read a lot of books to find out, YouTube as well. So it took a while, right? So it takes from one guru or one spiritual leader to the next. And so I've gone through a lot. So, but I'm like a late bloomer, and I'm a slow learner as well. So it took me a long time, Rebecca, like until like maybe last year, or, kind of, so kind of know about a bit more on the spiritual side. And I wish I come across your site, or you started this site like 5 years ago, the Culture Society, because whatever you shared and whatever you teach, and even from your guests, I learned so much, right? Instead of spending 5 years to understand what's the meaning of life, I could just spend a few hours just going through your YouTube, kind of thing. So that's my journey. So it's a big transition from this Chinese materialism, as you can see from America and China, right? That kind of the Chinese are very competitive. So I'm trying to move away from that, and learn about spiritual, there's more on a like oneness, which we shared about earlier. So that's basically, yeah, what happened to me. So yeah, late starter, late bloomer, still a long way to go compared to you, right? I'm just like a new baby, right? So I got a lot more to learn. So it's an honor and a privilege just to be part of your culture society. So I watch your YouTubes, and I learn so much from you. So I don't need to read all these books, like I can just listen to you. It's all summarized, right? So it saves me a lot of time. So I want to thank you for that, Rebecca,
Oh
for
man, thank
change
you.
and positives. Yeah, positivity you're giving me.
I really appreciate that. And it seems as though there has been a really big shift, huge shift globally in the way that people think. There's still a lot of people in our cultures, in the variety of cultures, that still are very materialistic and very superficial. And in fact, I worked in the fashion industry for many years. That's what I went to school for. That's what I aspired to do for many years. And then something clicked for me. And I think that it happens through experience and allowing yourself to experiment. And I talk about the importance of experimenting because you never really would really know what it what that world would be like. I think that oftentimes we need to experience contrast in order for us to really appreciate what life really is about, right? And that's why duality is so important, and it's very prevalent in our society, right? There's light and dark, heaven and hell, you know, devil and God. It's something that we will always experience, and I don't believe that we there's ever a late bloomer, because oftentimes people go throughout their entire life without even experiencing the meaning of life, the true meaning of life, right? So you did you just turn 50? Are you in your mid 50s? Where are you? If you
Yeah,
don't mind.
exactly. I mean, my mid 50s now. So I start to have this epiphany and like, what's happening and what's the meaning of life. So I start to question myself every day. And that's when I started my journey. It took me a long time, right? To understand, yeah, more about myself as well. So yeah, it's quite recent. And like I say, I'm a slow learner and a late bloomer. Yeah.
Well, how many times have you moved? Because you had mentioned that you've had the opportunity to live in, you know, different places and you've experienced different industries. So how has the transition helped you come to that realization?
I think I think you know a bit of my background. I worked in Thailand for 10 years, and I've actually I did my education. I studied in New Zealand for like 6 years. I've traveled a bit. I've done business in certain countries as well, right? In Europe, even in Asia and Southeast Asia particularly. Um, but during all this time when I was working, of course, I stopped. I kind of, after this pandemic started last year, I kind of like work for myself from home. But before this, I was working for everyone else. So in that sense, I'm kind of retired from working for others. Now it's like me working for myself and to serve others. So it's a bit of change here. So yeah, but when I was still like in a brainwash kind of mindset, right? So because we are brainwashed when we are young, with our society that just impose on us like, hey, you got to be successful, make a lot of money. And then of course, as we grow older, we are influenced by the Western kind of
Yeah,
brainwashing, news
yeah.
media, even social platform today, right? So we got to be very careful. So I was in that kind of bubble for like until I'm 50, right? And even 50 plus when I was still searching for the truth for myself, right? So my job and my work experience didn't actually help me in the sense like knowing myself. Is just like contributing like the to the economies, right? Contribute to each other's economies, the companies and shareholders and the owners kind of thing. So it's just work experience per se. So I don't know whether that answer your question,
Oh
Rebecca.
yeah, no, absolutely. Because I think that it's very important for us to really understand, especially through the transitions of experiences and moving to different places and having so many different conversations. And when you have those experiences, you really can come to a personal conclusion, because I don't think that anybody can really force that change on you. You have to go through personal experiences and recognize, like, you know what, this just doesn't feel right to me anymore. And like I said, oftentimes people go throughout their entire life not ever asking those questions, because our lives can be very sedentary and also very robotic, where we're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And it doesn't really get you out of the parameters of the boxes that we live in, right? So when you have the opportunity to travel, to experience new industries, have different conversations, it really puts you almost like in a different, I like to call it quantum leaping. And I feel like I'm in a very different quantum field right now, because I'm having a conversation with somebody that's a day ahead of me.
Yes. Yeah. Speaking of which, yeah, following from what you said, I got to add that when I was meeting different cultures, right, whether they're New Zealanders or they're Chinese, Indians, or Europeans, right, from different countries, it's kind of a novelty kind of experience. Like, oh, it's different, the food and the weather. But today, cultured society, and you have diverse kind of nationalities, and races and backgrounds and talents. It's vastly different. Like you say, it's a quantum leap kind of thing. Like now is instead of novel kind of experience, it's more like I want to know deeper about cultures like the Native Americans, or Maoris or Polynesian or the Indians, Red Indians, not sorry, not Red Indians, sorry, the Tibetans, and even I think your background, right, is got a rich history from South America and Central America, right? So I think they know a lot more than us. Like, they know about the universe and really deep. So I'm very curious, and I would like to learn more about more of these cultures. It's different from before. It's just totally different. So I'm
Absolutely.
very happy you created this platform, for me to learn about other cultures.
Absolutely. And it's so important because when you recognize that everybody's philosophies and even just like within cultures, right? It's so blended, it's very different, but at the end of the day, like especially if you have more of an open mind and you can embrace other people's cultures, oftentimes you maybe like the foods, right? You can call them different things, but we're using a lot of the same ingredients or we're doing, the same kind of concept of how we cook it or how we think. It's just so interesting, and traveling has done that for me. I mean, it's expanded my mind in so many ways to be able to have conversations and even like just different dynamics in economy, like economic, right? Like a lot of people who don't have, money or the definition of what our society deems successful, right? And I feel like oftentimes those people that don't have anything are the happiest and most joyful, right? Because they are, I feel like just being able to breathe is really all the abundance that we need. And oftentimes we're so focused on the exterior, right? The materialism of our existence that we tend to forget that and we take it for granted.
Yeah, so true. I think like the simple lives they live, I think they're happier, right, compared to those who are more in more developed nations. They're always chasing for a bigger car, bigger house. I don't think they're happier than the people in like Bhutan or even in, I don't know, New Zealand, North Island of New Zealand, the Maoris, right? I think they're happier
Yeah,
somehow, or
absolutely.
some islands in the Pacific Ocean.
Absolutely. There's just something about simplicity that really allows you to become grounded and just very present, just like your bio said, how you're in that space where you're just more focused on being present, and that's so important. So going into the next question, how has your upbringing and circle of influence impacted the way that you live and think about life today?
Yeah, so my a bit of my background, like I think I mentioned a bit the Chinese kind of way. We are very aggressive. We are into materialism. We want to succeed in life. So I was born in a Taoist family, Confucian kind of re- ancestor worshipping. Most of the Chinese are like that. And then we became Christians. And then when I went to Thailand, I kind of learned about the Buddhism, this kind of way of life. So that kind of resonated with me, and because I can see a lot of kindness in the Thai people. Uh, but then it was because we are always bombarded with what they want us to be brainwashed with. I never actually go deep into you know that until recently, right? So again, like I say, I'm a late bloomer. So my earlier influences is just about studying, getting good grades, like everybody else, getting a good job, trying to improve, our position in a company, or getting more money and stuff like that. So I mean, it's a good experience for me, right, to understand maybe how the world works, but not so much about myself. So so now I'm happier now. Like I know, like what's the meaning of life, right? What's our purpose, right? Not just to enjoy whatever like people, humans that for thousands or years ago they have improved our planet to give us the peace, the convenience, the food that is so available now, right? So I not just to enjoy, but hey, we are just part of this continuum, so that we keep improving, so for the future generations to enjoy. So I've kind of moved from a more selfish kind of mindset to a less selfish. Yeah, even though we are like, like we have a religion, but we're not really practicing it, so it's not real. Like I want to be less religious than and more spiritual. So I think there's a difference, right? I think you talk a lot about this, and I kind of helped me a lot too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And now that you are embracing this new way of living, how do you adopt your circle of influence? Because I believe that we have a choice on who we surround ourselves with and who we're influenced by. And you had mentioned earlier that you've gotten really deep into personal development. And so you've gone to a lot of seminars, you've done, a lot of just really immersing yourself in learning. And so now that you've embraced this new way of living and this new lifestyle, how do you tend to choose your circle of influence?
Okay. Of course, getting involved with your society, your culture, society. I mean, that's one way, and just to join other similar groups, whether in social media or around. I think now because of the situation, I think a lot of connections will be done through online, right? So maybe I join more of those. And if I'm in my physical world, like in here where I am in Petaling Jaya, right? So I will try to influence everybody I meet, what I learned, what I've become or changed, like more of oneness, right? Just this forgiveness for everyone, not just to forgive people who hate us or treat us bad, but forgive our enemies as well, no? Those haters, right? So that is real forgiveness, right? And unconditional love, just trying to practice unconditional love, and just thinking of others first, right? And to also to harness our positive energy, and spread it around, and just like that. So for me today is I hope to add value, a kind of positive value to everybody I meet, anybody I interact with, anyone at all. So that is a small way, right? So I'm sure as the next few years, or I will probably get to meet new people, like people like yourself, and maybe I'll do different things. It's just a journey, right? We are all. I'm a work in progress, right? I'm still like a baby, right? So in this just journey to improve myself as well, to improve the society. So I think I'll do a lot more stuff in the future. But currently, it's just like whoever, whatever I can do, like picking up rubbish. If people throw rubbish, like that is for the planet, right? To make planet a better place. It's small little things like that, Rebecca. Yeah. So I'm
Absolutely.
starting small now, right? Hopefully I'll become like you one day. Who knows? You're doing such a great job, right?
Listen,
Changing the world. And it's for eternity, Rebecca. I mean, it's going to be, can you imagine your platform is going to be such a great, you know, learning center instead of being brainwashed. People go to all this news media. It's all brainwashing by you know
yeah,
company.
no, you're so right.
So
And we do. I mean, we tend to forget to think for ourselves. Oftentimes we just believe everything that is given to us by what's being told on our social, even oftentimes we're not conscious of what we're listening to or reading on social media platforms, when that is a choice as well, because we can choose to unfollow, we can choose to not befriend, you know what I mean? Like every day and every experience tends to be a choice when we're consciously creating, when we recognize that we are conscious creators. And I don't think, again, that you're not a late bloomer. You're exactly where you need to be. in order for you to have made the shifts, because I don't think that that shift would have happened had you not experienced everything that you experienced. You know, everybody learns at their own pace and learns the way that they're supposed to learn based on their specific journey. And oftentimes we fall into that comparison trap where, like, you know, I'm 36 years old and I'm so grateful to the divine that I have had that awakening, right? At such a young age, because you know it sometimes takes people a lifetime to get to that conclusion of one, we're one, right? We're united, that we have the ability to embrace, and that we're a never ending evolution. I believe that we are eternal. We're our spirit, like we're spiritual beings living a human experience, and when we recognize that it's a never ending evolution of learning, of growing, of transforming, right? It's never ending. So you're not late, you're right on time. And you already answered this, but I want you to go a little bit deeper. Do you believe that your line of work infects our society with positivity? Because before you said that you were more into personal gain, and you were about comparing and just uh, competing, right? Because that's really where we are right now, where oftentimes we're competing against each other, where it's not even a competition. So talk a little bit more about the work that you're doing now that is infecting our society with positivity.
Well, but first of all, I think I want to add on to what you say about the choice, right? We all have a choice. And as you can see around the world today, what are the big businesses? They're all about escapism, right? To escape distractions, right? They're like Netflix, drugs, smoking, games, electronic games. It is all part of distraction, right? They're all part of escapism, right? So people, they have stress, they have problems, they just want to get away, just even watching movies, right? Those are all part of escapism. And we have a choice now, right? Your platform, for example, we can actually choose what to watch,
Yeah.
right? Who to listen to, right? Uh, and I think how it can contribute is like maybe get more people to to share that, hey, there are more to life than all that, as meaning of life. Maybe I can direct them to your platforms, to share what I know as well, right? But the easier way is just to to spread the word about your platform. I think now is like you say, we are also educators, we are teachers, and we can share what we know, right? So I think what I can do now is to share more about the purpose, meaning of life, right? The oneness, and of course, if I could spread your good news, why not? I think this is what I can do today to be effective, is educating people, right? Moving from escapism into, hey, let's contribute to the world, humanity, our planet, whatever, right? So
Yes, 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 yes. That's so great because, like you said, we are all here to teach one another and to share words of wisdom, to share experience, to share the knowledge that we have gained through the life that we've lived, right? And so that really helps us contribute more to our world, because our world is in the vicinities of the energetic space that we live in. So, regardless of what's happening in other parts of the world, that doesn't necessarily have to be the way that we live, right? Every day we're able to contribute something positive when we're consciously creating. And my dad, my father, is one of the wisest men that I know. And he's lived 73 years around the sun. And him from a very young age used to always tell me that we are architects of our life, that we are the designers of our life, and that every day we do have a choice to create something positive and to recognize that we are a reflection of our creator. And because that power lives within us, we have the light within us, and we have that ability to extend that to people that live in our energetic space. So that's great, Edric, that you're living your life like that, especially now because we need more of that. Do you believe that your work that you do every day now is aligned with your calling and higher purpose?
Yeah, like I think I share with you. I'm a late bloomer, right? I'm just starting to do this work that I think I should be doing, like contribution, a positive contribution to society. And I learned a lot from you, right, Rebecca? I think in your earlier talks, you sometimes you mention about materialism, right? You're away from materialism. You're more into experiences, that kind of thing. So those that resonates with me as well. So I like to do stuff that hopefully will turn people away from, hey, accumulating stuff, creating pollution, whatever it is. Instead, more of having better relationships. How to help others in service to others. So I'm still moving towards that. Maybe I could do, like, I think you do a lot of charity work in like Guatemala and all, right? So I honor you, and I admire you for that, and hopefully I'll do more of those in the future. But so currently what I can do is to just share the good news, share about Rebecca Munoz, Culture Society, and just, yeah, spread the positive, like the energy I receive from you. So I just spread it around, right? That's all I can do now. But I'm working towards it, right? To do other work that will be beneficial to society.
How
I
did
think
you
I think we still have a long way to go. I'm not sure. You have more years, but I think I still have a few more years as well.
listen? I'm still a baby in this too, and I'm definitely evolving right there with you. I think that we all have a greater opportunity to contribute more. And it's just, I believe that charity work or humanitarian work is in our neighborhood. We don't have to go to another country where there is, impoverished souls. I don't believe that we have to do that. I think that we can do that just by walking outside our door and being kind human beings, greeting people, right? Having conversations with strangers, because at the end of the day, nobody's a stranger. We're all family. And so it's great that now you're doing that work. How did you feel when you weren't doing this work?
How did I feel?
Yes.
I'm just like a normal, like a brainwashed zombie, right? Like the rest of the population, 99%. Hey, just we just influenced by the governments, by certain celebrities, and so I'm just like that. I'm just like a robot, right? Don't you believe? Don't you think so? I was living like a robot, and now, hey, I'm enlightened. I'm like you, right? A bit like you. I'll aspire to be more like you, Rebecca. So yeah, I'm much happier. I mean, now it's like giving, it's not taking only, and it's now we listen to like understand the other person, not to listen to respond, like what I have been doing for a long time, right? So yeah, I'm happier now, Rebecca, and I hope to do more good stuff instead of just like the rest.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's so interesting that you say that because it's so funny. I say that all the time that a lot of times, those zombie movies that we watch, I feel like a lot of times directors and filmmakers are making fun of our society because that's oftentimes the way that we live every single day. And I believe that when you I don't know. I don't. I guess I use that word sometimes, or we use that word really lightly, that enlightened word. But I just feel like when you wake up to the truth about what we're here to do, it really does, going into this question, make you more relevant, unique, and true to who you are as a person, because you recognize that you're not supposed to be doing the mundane acts of what our society does every single day. You start to wake up with more energy. Would you agree?
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, you are such an inspiration as well. You inspire people, uh, and like even now, right? Even though you're a different sex, I'm a different sex, a different nationality, different race, different culture, but somehow we are connected, right? We are all part of one big organism, right? So that's the beauty of it. I think.
Absolutely. You're right. We are. And it's so interesting, especially when you have the opportunity to, you know, work in different industries or travel and be more open. It also allows you to know that you can find common ground with just about anybody. Like, how many conversations have you had through the course of the last 5 years, right? That you've been more open to, how many conversations have you had with people from different parts of the world?
Amazingly, because of this situation we are in now since last year, right? I have never actually had so many conversations with different people from around the world, right? So it just happened this last 1 year, less than 1 year, that even with yourself. So and it's all mostly done online. So this is a totally new experience, right? This how I'm connecting to hopefully like-minded people, and I think it's good that we support one another to learn from each other, and then we can help others as well. So I think this is the future. I think later on we have virtual reality or augmented reality, VR, AR. I think that will be even more kind of deeper experience online, right? So, yeah, I mean, just only recently that I have been connecting to having this kind of conversations and to learn from others, right? Especially yourself, Rebecca. Yeah, I learned so much from you.
You know what? Thank you so much for believing in me as much as you do. Just like you, I think that I'm just a normal person, having an experience and being very open to the idea of connection in a very different level. Because you're right. I believe that this is the new way. This is a new age business. It's the way that we're going to be able to expand. E-commerce is a growing economy. The virtual world is something that we're not going to be able to escape. In fact, we need to get more comfortable with doing it. And the more that we're going to be able to evolve even more is if we continue to open up our mind to the idea of this way of connecting. And it doesn't have to be superficial, because I think that I've had a lot of really great connections with people just like yourself, where I found that I'm so aligned with them. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, totally agree. And I'm really blessed and I'm honored, to actually meet you and now be part of your culture society talks. Yeah,
What was
exactly.
what would you say your biggest aha moment was in 2020? Like, when did it shift?
Well, it's maybe towards the end of 2020, early 2021. I think about the same time. I think we connected. I think the aha moment was, hey, the world is changed. It's not going back to where it used to be, and more, is connection is going to be online, more on internet, virtual, and I kind of I realized that there's this new dimension 5D where if we do more meditation and more of totally away from the brainwashed materialistic society. So yeah, kind of aha moment was towards the a few things is as accumulation of what I learned from people like yourself and all these spiritual gurus and who are enlightened in the 5D world, right? It just happened recently. Kind of, I can't pinpoint the exact time, but it's towards the end and early this year. Yeah.
Nice, nice. And I think that this has been accumulation of experiences that you've had throughout the years that have gotten you to this point. I I don't know about you, but because of the fact that our everything really shifted and we were forced to go into an isolated space, I just feel like, it gave people the time to really self-assess and to ask themselves the questions that we're speaking about today is, what is life really about? I mean, we can lose our life any second, and it doesn't have to be just from COVID, like a lot of people have passed, but it can happen in a car accident. It can happen, from stress. You have a heart attack and, like, it's that's it. You know what I mean? It can happen from so many different avenues, and it's really important for us to get to that place where we are in solitude and we give ourselves the time to really get to know ourselves, and instead of being distracted by all the distractions around us. And you did mention meditation, so that brings me to my next question. What practices do you implement to stay grounded and divinely connected to yourself and your creator now in this space that you're in?
Oh, right. Yeah. Going back to the earlier question you asked, yeah. So during this period, I think without this time, yeah, I wouldn't have be kind of more enlightened, having the aha moment, right? Because we don't have a lot of, you know, my time, me time kind of thing. I'll still be in a brainwash situation, like the rest, going on for another 50 years, maybe, who knows, right? In this cocoon. During this time, of course, I learned about meditation and started doing it as well. I like to do more, and I do affirmations as well. Affirm, my goals, what I want to do, how to, and of course, the main thing is also the gratitude list. I write my gratitude list, 10 things every day, and I visualize, as well. What I want to do, how I want to help people. So basically, this and goal setting as well. I write down my goals, and I read and I learn. I watch YouTubes like yours. So basically that. So yeah, reading a lot. I would say. So these are things I do these days a lot. Yeah.
This every day now? Is this becoming part of your ritual?
Yeah, this is part of, you can say, part of my routine, my work. So this, yeah. But I'd like to do more meditation actually. I think that is maybe the most important part of, becoming
Do
a
you
better
spend,
person.
do you spend a lot of time by yourself?
Yeah, most of the time spend by myself, because I'm alone, right? I don't have a family. I have a sister, like, but she's in a different state, a few hundred miles away. She's got a family, but we can't really travel these days. We are still in this restrictive mode. Like, earlier on, like, we can't like go more than 10 kilometers. Even today, we can't. Yeah, we can go a bit further, but we can't go to the next state. So we are kind of in this situation. We can't actually travel much, even in our own country.
Yeah.
So I'm alone, right? So I don't have a family like most people, they have. Yeah. So
And
spend a lot. Yeah.
how do you feel about that? Because I mean, you went from a place where you were constantly on the go, right? Like there was always the next place that you had to get to, and now that you've slowed down significantly, how does it make you feel?
Yeah, I strangely, I kind of adapted to it. I'm having a conversation with you, like, we are 14 kilometers, more than 14,000 kilometers away, right? And I feel like, hey, you're just next to me and I can feel your energy. So I kind of adapted to this, and I don't need to like travel so much. Like, of course, last year we are allowed to travel, so I've been to a few islands in Malaysia. We have some islands, right? So I kind of like the beach. um, but I don't really, maybe I don't miss it so much like I used to be. Maybe I just adapted to, yeah. So I don't feel lonely. I don't feel anything, right? And it's more like, we all have a purpose to help others, because even in this situation, a lot of people are stressed, right? They are going into a 3D mode of the usual stuff, and hopefully we can help others to, hey, bring them and give them hope, like, hey, there's more, there's a new way of living and not the old way, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
that's the purpose, to help others, right? So that keeps me going.
absolutely, absolutely. What you say you read a lot, and you've gotten more into spiritual ways of thinking, because again, we are spiritual beings living a human experience. It's not about religion, it really is about true connection to source. What book would you recommend somebody who is looking to become more spiritually connected?
Okay, I kind of like, recently, is most of Wayne Dyer's books, as well as Louise Hay, right?
Uh-huh.
So that is, and then I kind of like Robert Greene as well. Have
I
you
haven't
heard of Robert Greene?
seen
the loss of human nature, mastery. So yeah, I learned a lot from them as well, right? And they most of the time they talk about what you talk about, right? So I'm learning more deeper, rather than, hey, let's find out how to make the next billion-dollar app, and how to be a great businessman like Bill Gates or whatever, right? So I'm away. I have those books as well, but now I find these kind of books are more relevant to
Right.
what we are doing. And I still do some personal development, and I still read some personal development books, right, like Focus and all. But yeah, I will recommend Wayne Dyer or Louise Hay anytime. And
Yeah,
Robert Greene is Robert Greene is
I
not
need
bad.
to listen to Robert Greene because I actually have not read any Robert Greene books, but I do listen to Louise Hayes, or I have a lot in the past, and as well as Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer is an oldie but goodie. Actually, both of them are. Louise Hayes and Wayne Dyer have been around for many years. And it's interesting because a lot of these spiritual teachers are a lot older. And it seems as though people tend to find their spirituality or become more connected at a very, well, at a later age. But it seems as though a lot of people are now are starting to dig more deep into that. So I'm finding that a lot of people, even my age and younger, are a lot more spiritually connected, which is great because we need more of that. What words of wisdom would you give to those that are seeking a deeper understanding of themselves?
Okay. Coming from my experience, right? I think is to know oneself, right? To know yourself, know thyself. You may take a long time. It may take years, like me, like decades, 5 decades plus, right? And it's always important to know yourself first. Then you start to learn to love yourself as well. And then you can do this the routine we talk about, right? You do more of those, meditation, gratitude, and I mean, just listening to and watch your channel, right? I think they will learn that as well. Suggestion, they watch more your culture society YouTubes. um, yeah, and to find your purpose of life, your meaning of life, and it's all about oneness, if you touch someone in a positive way, I'm sure it will be a ripple effect,
Mhm.
kind of. So to give and to add value to positive value to society, humanity, and the planet. That's just that's the meaning of life for me.
It
So
seems
I'm still a work in progress, Rebecca. So I'm still learning. Maybe next time will be different, right? So I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, no, and it honestly, Edric, I feel like all of us are learning something new about ourselves every day, and we should be. We should be, because, like I said earlier, every day is a new opportunity to create something new. And when you operate that way, and when you give yourself the opportunity to connect with other people and to be more connected with yourself by practicing these things like meditation, prayer, gratitude, presence, being in the moment and recognizing that what happened yesterday and even this morning is already history. It's no longer a part of our reality anymore. Oftentimes we live in our head, right? And we create realities that haven't even been created yet. We create problems for ourselves that don't need to exist. When we operate in the present moment and we recognize that tomorrow hasn't even been created, it's all we have is what's happening right here, right now. We have the ability to be more conscious, right? We can be more in tune with our bodies to make decisions that are going to be more beneficial for our tomorrow, regardless if it's not here yet. But every decision that we're making second by second, minute by minute, is creating our reality as we go. So yeah, I mean, that's very relevant, because when we also take care of ourselves, we have the ability to pour out more kindness and love to other human beings that are in our energetic space. Thank you so much, Edric, for taking the time to join me today. This was a really fun conversation just because I really feel like I'm in the future right now. I feel like
Yes,
I'm in the
for
future
the
right
future.
now.
And you're a genius, Rebecca, because you sum it really well. You said keep learning, right? And I think I missed that. So yeah, we should all keep learning. Everyone should keep learning. Your audience should keep learning from your culture society, right? Yeah, you are amazing, and I appreciate you, and it's such an honor for me to be on your show, on your talk show. Yeah,
Oh,
anyway,
thank you so
thank
much.
you,
Thank you so much
thank
for
you so
taking the time
much.
to join me today, Edric first, and whoever is going to join this conversation today, tomorrow, next year, 10 years from now. These conversations are so relevant, and they're going to be relevant, whenever you tune in, because this is exactly where you need to be. And this is exactly the information that you need to hear from wherever you are and however you're evolving. And I'm just so grateful that you've taken the time to join these conversations, because we are here just to share our experiences and our life philosophies. And even if you don't agree or it's not the way that you're living, it's fine. And it's really great to be able to embrace these concepts and take these little nuggets of wisdom. And if they don't make sense today, they might make sense tomorrow. Who knows? But just embrace it, acknowledge that you're exactly where you need to be and you're perfectly created, and that you are here for a divine purpose. And whether you have found that yet, I believe that it's going to present itself to you whenever it's the right time. So, with this, I leave you. I am sending so much love and blessings your way. Until we see you again, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.